Hey guys, welcome to Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. On today's video tutorial, guys, we are tackling question 1.2 from the grade 12 mathematics June 2022 paper 1, right? And question 1.2, guys, it deals with solving simultaneously. So you're solving it at the same time, solving two equations at the same time simultaneously for x and y, right? And I'm going to be taking you guys through the process of substitution, how you can use the process of substitution to solve your simultaneous equations, right? So before you get started with this video tutorial, guys, please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Please make sure that you click on that notification bell so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video tutorial. And also please make sure that you click on that like button because that really helps the channel grow. All right, okay guys, so without any further ado, let's get started with today's video tutorial. Question 1.2, solve for x and y simultaneously, right? So we're given two equations, 3 minus y plus 2x, which is equal to 0, and another equation, which is 6x plus 4y squared, which is equal to 3 plus 5xy, right? And we have to solve these two equations simultaneously to find the value of our x and to also find the value of y. So we want to solve these two equations simultaneously using the process of substitution, right? So I'm going to take you guys through the steps that you guys need to follow, right? So the first thing you need to do, guys, when you're solving simultaneous equations using the process of substitution is that you need to basically isolate either the x or the y variable from either the first equation or the second equation, right? Okay, so I'm going to choose to isolate the y variable from the first equation because it looks easier from there. It will simplify our lives because when we isolate the y variable, we'll just have a straightforward linear equation. And then when you have a straightforward linear equation, it makes it easier and straightforward for it makes it easier for us to just substitute that y variable into the next equation to solve for x, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to isolate the y from this equation, okay? And when I isolate the y, I'm going to have negative y, which is equal to, if you take positive 2x to the right hand side, it's going to be negative 2x. And if you take that positive 3 to the right hand side, it's going to be negative 3, okay? And we need to divide by negative 1. So if you divide by negative 1, it's going to be okay, we need to divide by negative 1 to get rid of that negative. So if you divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, your y is going to be equal to 2x plus 3, okay? Because we want to isolate that y variable. There mustn't be any negatives in front or any number in front, right? Like a 2 or 3. It needs to just be a y, right? Which is equal to something. So we've basically isolated. And this is going to be my equation 1. So the equation that you've basically isolated, either the x or the y variable, that needs to be your equation 1. And then the other equation, you need to call that equation your equation 2, right? So then from here, we need to substitute equation 1 into our equation 2, right? So this equation that we've basically got now, we need to substitute it into our equation 2. Okay, so this is my equation 2, and this is my equation 1 from the previous slide, right? And we're going to substitute our equation 1 into our equation 2, right? So where we see a y in our equation 2, we're going to put 3 plus 2x, okay? So it's going to be 6x plus 4. Where you see y, you're going to put 3 plus 2x all squared. Okay, because it's squared there, which is equal to 3 plus 5x. Where you see y, you're going to put a 3 plus 2x. Okay, and then guys, from here, we are basically going to simplify this equation further, right? First thing we need to do, we need to remove all these brackets because they're complicating our lives. So it's going to be 6x plus, okay? So a quick way where we can just basically simplify that inner expression, because it's saying 3 plus 2x all squared. So what you're going to do, you're going to square the first term, right? If you square the first term, it's going to be 9, right? And then you're going to multiply these two terms together, right? So if you multiply them together, it's 3 times 2 is 6, and you're going to double 6. So 6 doubled is going to be 12. So it's going to be plus 12x, okay? And you're going to square the last term. If you square the last term, if I say square it, it's going to be 2x all squared, right? So if you square the last term, it's going to be plus, right, 4x squared. Okay, so that's like a quick way that you can just basically deal with that inner bracket if it's squared, right? Square the first term, right? Multiply these two terms together and you double them, right? And then you square the last term. Instead of you having to write out the brackets, write out this bracket like that. 3 plus 2x, 3 plus 2x, and then you multiply like that. Okay, I'm just giving you a quick way that you can just simply simplify that expression. Okay, square the first term, multiply these two terms together, double them, gives you 12, square the last term, okay, and that's your answer there. Okay, let's simplify the rest of this expression or this equation, which is equal to 3 plus, we're going to multiply the 5x multiplied by 3 is 15x plus the 5x multiplied by 2x is going to be 10x squared. Okay, and then we're going to get rid of this bracket on the left hand side. It's going to be 6x plus 4 times 9 is 36, okay, plus 4 times 12, x is 48, x plus 4 times 4x squared is 16x squared, which is equal to 3 plus 15x plus 10x squared, right? So we need to take now these values that are on the right hand side to the left hand side. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite everything again. Okay, and then from here, guys, we are simply going to collect our like terms. Okay, so when you collect your like terms, okay, which is equal to 0. Okay, and then from here, guys, we can see that we've got a quadratic equation that's in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, right? And then we know when we've got a quadratic equation that's in that form, okay, a quick way for us to just simplify this is by just using the quadratic formula. We can just simply just use the quadratic formula, okay? Can simply just use the quadratic formula. It'll be easier for us, right? So that's the value of our a. Our a is equal to 6. Our b is equal to plus 39. And our c is equal to plus 33. We're going to simply insert this into our quadratic formula. B is 39 plus minus your b is 39 all squared minus 4. What's your a is 6. What's your c is 33 all over 2, right? And our a is 6. Okay, simply punch that into a calculator, starting off with the value of your positive. And when you punch that into your calculator, you'll find that your x is equal to, okay, so if you punch that into your calculator, you'll find that your x is equal to minus 1, or your x is equal to negative 11 over 2, right? But if you press the SD button, I'm going to show you guys here on the calculator, you'll get negative 5.5, right? So those are the two values for your x. So we've basically found our values for our x, guys, right? So now what do we do now? Okay, so now we go back to our initial y equation. We said our y, right? What? Because we've basically isolated the y. So we can basically take these x values that we've obtained of x, which is equal to negative 1 and the x, which is equal to negative 11 over 2, and we can substitute these values into our y equation, our equation 1, to get our y value. Simple, you see. Okay, so we're going to go there. We're going to take our equation 1. Remember, our equation 1 is equal to y, which is equal to 2, which is equal to 3 plus 2x, right? And we are simply going to substitute these x values, right? We're simply going to substitute these x values. We're going to start off with the x, which is equal to negative 1, which is equal to 3 plus 2, negative 1, right? And if you punch that into your calculator, or you can use your head, you'll find that your y is equal to 1. Okay, so when your x is equal to negative 1, your y is equal to 1. Okay, let's go on to the other point. Y is equal to 3 plus 2x. You're going to substitute the x value of negative 5.5. So it's 3 plus 2x value of negative 5.5, or you can just substitute the negative 11.2. When you punch that into your calculator, you'll find that your y is equal to negative 8. Okay, so we've basically solved this two equations simultaneously for x and y. We found your x values and we found our y values. But are we done? We're not done, guys, right? Okay, you can quickly check to see if your answer is correct. Okay, how can you check to see if your answer is correct, right? So you're going to go to the initial question. The initial question was telling us that okay, especially if you look at this part here, okay, we can use this equation as a check, okay, because we've got an expression on the left hand side and an expression on the right hand side. Okay, so we can check to see that if the x values that we've got and the y values that we've obtained are actually correct, okay, by using that expression. Okay, I'm going to use the red marker so that you guys see that we're just checking. So we've got 6x plus 4y squared is equal to 3 plus 5x1. Okay, so the first one, guys, remember we said that when your x is equal to negative 1, your y is equal to 1. So we need to substitute this x value and this y value, right, into this equation to check to see if our right hand side or our left hand side is equal to our right hand side. We're checking, okay, because this is for 6 marks, guys. We can't play with those marks. Okay, so we're checking. Cool. So we're going to substitute these values. So we said that here x was equal to negative 1 and y was equal to 1. So we're checking. So 6, where you've got x, you're going to put negative 1 plus 4. When you see y, you're going to put 1, which is equal to, where you've got x, negative 1, where you've got y, 1. Okay, and you can just simply use your calculator and check to see what you have on the left hand side is equal to what you have on the right hand side. So 6 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 6 plus 4, which is equal to 3 plus 5 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 5. Okay, because negative 1 times positive 1 is negative 1. Times it by 5 is negative 5. So minus 6 plus 4 is minus 2. Plus 3 minus 5 is minus 2. So we see that, okay, this one is correct. Okay, so let's go on to check the other set of x and y. We said that when your x is actually equal to negative 11 over 2, your y is equal to negative 8. Okay, so we're going to check that part there. Okay, so we're checking when your x is equal to negative 11 over 2, your y, we said your y is negative 8. So that is the one that we're checking. So it's going to do the same thing. We're going to substitute those values into this equation. So it's 6. What is our x? Is negative 11.2. I'm going to put negative 5.5, guys. Okay, and then plus 4. What is your y? Negative 8 all squared, which is equal to 3 plus 5. X is negative 5.5 and your y is negative 8. Okay, simply, guys, put that into your calculator. You'll see that on the left hand side you've got 223, and on your right, when your left hand side you've got 223, and on your right hand side you've got 223. Okay, So guys, this just tells us that we have basically solved these two equations simultaneously for x and y, right? To get to the fact that your x is equal to -1, your y is equal to 1. And when your x is equal to -5.5 or -11/2, your y is going to be equal to -8, right? And we've also checked to see that our equation that has basically two expressions on the left hand side and on the right hand side balances, right? Because when you substitute now these two values that you've obtained, right, you should be getting the same value on the left hand side and the same value on your right hand side. And if you do that, that tells you that you've solved your equations correctly simultaneously for your x and your y. Okay, next video tutorial, guys, we're tackling question 1.3, where we are given the expression or the equation 9x squared minus 12px, which is equal to negative 4p squared, right? And they want you to find the values of p where the equation will have equal roots. Okay, so I'm going to explain how we can approach this question. Please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, and also please make sure that you click on that notification bell so you get notified when I upload the next video tutorial. That is it, guys, and I'll see you guys on my next upload, Distance Learning with Lee, where I make learning mathematics super easy. Bye, guys.